Good morning, Year 5. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. This is our last lesson on multiplication. And before we start, could you please write the date and the LO in your maths book? So the date is the 18th of the 1st, 21, and the learning outcome is to problem solve using multiplication methods. So pause the video and do that now. Okay, so this lesson is slightly different to normal. It's going to be based all around problem solving, which is something we need to work on as a class. So on the board here, I have our first problem. And after I read out this problem, I'd like you to think about what calculation you need to do to find the answer. So, Class 5 are selling tickets for their school play. Tickets are £5 each. So far, they have sold 34 tickets. How much money has Class 5 collected? So pause the video and think about what calculation you need to do to solve this problem. Okay, so this problem is asking us to multiply 34 by 5 because we have sold 34 tickets and they cost £5 each. So I'm going to show you using column method, but you can use partitioning or the place value counter method, whichever one you prefer. So using column method, we're going to start in our ones column and multiply 5 by 4, which is 20. So remember the second digit goes here, which is 0, and then our 2 goes underneath here. Okay, and next we're going to multiply 5 by 3, which is 15, and if we add our 2, that becomes 17. So here we have 170 as our product. So Class 5 has collected £170. I know this because I multiplied 34 by 5. So well done if you thought that that was how we calculate the answer. Okay, I have another problem on the screen for you now. So there are 5 year groups in a school. There are 123 children in each year group. How many children are in the school in total? So what I want you to do now is pause the video and use your method of choice to solve this problem. So you need to think about what calculation you need to do and make sure your multiplicand, your biggest number, goes on top of the multiplication. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at this one in your maths book. Okay, well done everyone. So let's have a look at what we would do. So using column method, we need to multiply 123 by 5 to find our answer. So let's start in the ones column. 5 times 3 is 15. So our 5 goes here in the ones column and our 1 underneath in the tens. 5 times 2 is 10. Add our 1, that becomes 11. So our 1 goes here and another 1 under here in the hundredths column. And lastly, 5 times 1, which is 5, and then add the 1, that becomes 6. So there are 615 children in the school. I know this because I've multiplied 123 by 5. So as you can see here, I've picked out the key information, multiplied the numbers together to get our product. Okay, Year 5, so that was the step 1 input, and now I'd like you to pause the video and have a go yourselves at doing step 1 of the worksheet. And remember, when I say use your method of choice, these methods include the column method, partitioning, or the place value counters. So whichever you find easiest to use, pick that one. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at that in your books. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the step 2 input, and here we have a problem that involves multiplying 4-digit numbers by 1-digit number, something you've done before. So I'm going to read out the problem, and again I want you to think about what calculation you need to do. Tim wants to buy quad bikes for his family. One bike costs £1,273. There are 4 people in Tim's family. How much does he need to spend on quad bikes? So if he wants to buy all of his family members a quad bike each, how much money does he need to spend? So pause the video and think about what calculation you would need to do here. Okay, so this problem is asking you to multiply 1273 by 4 to find our answer. So this example is with column method, but you can use a different method. So let's have a look at what our answer would be. So again, the ones column to start, 4 times 3 is 12, our 2 goes here, and our 1 underneath. 4 times 7 is 28, and then our 28 becomes 29, so our 9 goes here, and our 2 underneath. 4 times 2 is 8, add the 2, that becomes 10, so 0 here, and 1 underneath. And then 4 times 1 is 4, add our 1, that becomes 5, and that goes here. So our answer is £5,092. So using our full sentence, Tim needs to spend £5,092 on quad bikes. I know this because I've multiplied 1,273 by 4 to find my answer, because there's 4 people in Tim's family and each bike costs £1,273. Okay? Okay, so here we have another problem to solve. A factory prints 82 cans every minute. How many cans will the factory print in 3/4 of an hour? So you need to have some knowledge here about time. So pause the video and think about what 3/4 is, what number that represents, and what calculation you need to do to solve this problem on the screen. And if you feel confident, you can have a go in your maths book now before I model it. So pause the video and have a think about what calculation needs to be done to solve this problem. Okay, so firstly, we need to think about what 3/4 means. What number does that represent? So 3/4 of an hour is an equivalent to 45 minutes. So here, we need to represent the number 45. And then our problem is asking us to multiply 82 by 45 to know how many cans will be printed in 3/4 of an hour. So here I've got 82 times 45. So well done if you got that part correct. And now we need to look at how we would solve this problem using column method. Okay, so remember, when we multiply 2-digit numbers together, we need to leave 2 rows here for our 2 answers to go in, and then we add them together. So let's have a look at what our answer would be. So start here in the ones column. 5 times 2 is 10. So our 0 goes here and our 1 underneath. Make sure you carry these numbers and write them really small so it doesn't get confusing when you carry on. Okay, 5 times 8 is 40. Add the 1, that becomes 41. So we've got 410 in this row here. And now let's multiply our tens column. So 4 times 2 is 8. Remember, our 8 needs to go in the tens column here, and our magic 0 in the ones column here. And then we need to do 4 times 8, which is 32. So I've got my 2 here and my 3 underneath, which can come up here. Okay, so now we need to add our answers together. So we've got 0, 9, 4 and 2 is 6, and then we've got our 3 here because there's nothing else to add on. So we've got 3,690. So to solve our problem, the factory will print 3,690 cans in 3/4 of an hour. I know this because I've multiplied 82 by 45. Okay, so on the screen now we have some very similar step 2 questions. So I want you to pause the video and have a go at these 2 questions in your maths book. So remember your magic 0 and put your digits in the right columns. Okay, and for those of you that would like a challenge, we're going to move on to step 3 of the worksheet input. So I've got another problem for you to solve on the board. It says Jamie's garden measures 32 metres wide and 52 metres long. How much grass does Jamie need in order to fit the garden's measurements? Use the area model or column method to calculate your answer. So you need to pick out the key pieces of information and think about what calculation you need to do to solve this problem. So pause the video and either think about what you need to do or have a go in your maths book as well if you feel confident. Okay, so the calculation you need to do to solve this problem is 32 times 51, because we've got 32 metres wide and 51 metres long. So in order to see how much grass Jamie needs, we need to see how big his garden is. So let's start with our ones column. So 1 times 2 is 2, so that goes here. 1 times 3 is 3, and our 3 goes here in our tens column. Now let's move on to our tens column multiplications. So 5 times 2 is 10, and the 0 goes here, and the 1 underneath here. And remember to put your magic 0 in the ones column. And 5 times 3 is 15, add the 1, that becomes 16. So now we have 32 and 1,600. And now we need to add our two answers. So 2 add 0 is 2, 3 add 0 is 3, 6 add nothing is 6, and 1 add nothing is 1. So we've got 1,632. So to answer our problem, Jamie needs to order 1,632 metres squared, because remember when we times metres together it becomes metres squared, for his garden. I know this because I've multiplied 32 times 51. I'm not sure why that says full garden there. Okay, so well done if you got that calculation correct. Sorry, I've just changed our problem here to help you. So it now says Jamie needs to order 1,632 metres squared of grass. I know this because, so that makes more sense now. Okay, so now we have some similar problems for you to solve for part 3 of the worksheet, step 3. So pause the video and have a go at those in your maths book if you fancy a challenge. And here we have the extension also if you fancy an extra little challenge. Okay, well done everyone for completing your independent work. We now have the step 1 answers on the screen, so you can mark your work in your book. So pause the video and mark your answers. Okay, we now have the step 2 answers on the screen. Again, pause the video and mark your work. Okay, and now we have the step 3 answers on the screen for you to mark your work in your book. So pause the video and do that. And lastly, we have the extension answer on the screen here if you got onto the extension. So pause the video and mark your work. Okay, well done Year 5 for all your hard work this morning. I know it's a little bit different to normal, but I hope you all got on okay. Have a lovely rest of your day and I'll see you all soon.